Hey folks, this is Scott at the XFed Homestead. Today I'm going to start the video by thanking a special group of people. And it came to my attention recently that this group of people at a college down there in Philadelphia have been watching my videos here and there. And I thought that it's just great. I'm on the North Shore of Boston and they're all the way down in Philly. So I was just amazed that they would be watching my videos. Anyway, I'd like to give a shout out to the folks who are in medical school at the University of Pennsylvania. Penn has a fabulous medical program, and for those that are pursuing an MD or an MD PhD, they've dedicated their lives to helping all the rest of us. And so I wish them all well. And I heard that they watch the XFed Homestead because they want to feel a sense of normalcy when things at medical school are always so frenetic. So I'm glad you tuned in. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself and trying to live the peaceful life, albeit vicariously, through the XFed Homestead YouTube channel. And I wish you all well in your medical pursuits. So today we have a lot of really great gardening to do. It's beautiful out right now, but rain is in the forecast. So I want to get a lot of seeds in the ground. I'm already feeling like I'm running behind this spring. So let's get to work. The first thing I need to do today is to move my giant tarp. My silage tarp here has been covering my rows so that it destroys the weeds that could potentially grow under there. And when they're looking for sunlight, once it's nice and warm, they don't find any and they die in place. So now that I'm ready to plant, I can just move that over a row or two and start planting. So that's a plan today. Let's get started. Now these 3 rows are free and clear to plant. You can see I've already put some broccoli over there under the tunnel, and then I started putting some lettuce, kale, and chard in the second row. But I'm going to try to plant out these other rows as I can. Now when I was mowing the lawn this week, I took the extra grass and I put it on top of these after I had pulled back the plastic, knowing that I was going to plant shortly after. But the grass, I have it, it's free, it keeps down the weeds. So I make sure that I don't give weeds a chance to start in that fashion. But here in this second bed, I'm going to plant some onions, and I'll do that right now. So in order to do that, I have to take off the grass, put it to the side, then plant my onions. And once the onions start growing up, I very lightly take grass and shake it over it so that it starts to build up a coat of grass and a coat of mulch, essentially, so that weeds don't pop up in between the onions. But you'll see that in another video later on. So let's get started here and we'll start clearing this out. So now that the row here is ready, I can plant my onions, and I use onion sets. You can see here I have Dutch onions that I bought, and onion sets are just small onions that are partially grown. They harvest them after they come from seed, and then they package them up, and they're a little bit more expensive than onion seeds, but onion seeds are very delicate to work with. They take a little more patience and smaller fingers than I have in my case. I'm a little ham-fisted with those teeny tiny little onion slips. So I like plugging these into the ground, and I'll tell you what, I've had great luck with onion sets for years. So trying to do anything different right now, I don't know. I don't want to chance it. So I'm sticking with my onion sets. And I'll have a couple hundred onions at the end of this year. So I'll plant as many as I can in this row. I don't think it'll take up the whole row, but I love onions. And yesterday, it's now the middle of May, May 12th, and I have my last 6 onions from last year's harvest in the fridge. I just brought them up from the cellar and put them in the fridge. So it's lasting me just about the perfect amount of time. So let's plug these into the ground. Now when planting onions, I like to get a straight stick. And you can see here, I've marked some rows with it. I just put it on a little cant, so one corner of the straight stick goes into the ground, and I just slide it along in order to guide me as to where I want that ground to be planted. So I'll go down the row a little ways and just slide that, just like that. I plant these onions about 6 or 8 inches apart. So that's where I want my onions to go. And I'll poke a hole with my finger first, and then I'll get the onion sets and drop those in the holes that I've made. So I'll go around and just poke this in a diagonal pattern, and so that the onions will be offset from each other every other row. And that's just the way I do it. So do it the way you want, but this is how I mark my rows and get ready to plant my onions. So now, just grab a handful of onions, and you've got to drop them in with the point up. So, you see exactly what I mean here. Look at that. Put that point up, not the dull side, not the more rounded side, point up. And you can just drop them in those little holes. Drop it in, then I do a little check to make sure I get something in every hole. Some of these I can feel there might be a little not too ready to put in, so I'll put those to the side. I'll keep poking holes as I go along, and when I'm out of onions, I'm done. There we go. Well, I'm not even going to worry about watering these in, because it's going to rain tonight and into tomorrow, so I think they'll just be fine, and that'll save me a little bit of work. So let's get to doing some carrots. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to smooth it out with the rake and start planting my carrots, but we'll see when I get done with the raking. I may have to plant the carrots tomorrow. We'll go until we can't go anymore. Well, that bed isn't exactly what I want to see. And the issue for me is that it has a lot of organic material in it, but I want the seeds to make good contact with soil. So I think what I'm going to do is hold off for the planting tonight, and I'll cover this back up with the plastic to keep it dry. And then tomorrow, it doesn't look like rain, it's still supposed to rain, but if the rain does hold off, I'll get some more compost on here and thicken up the bed a little bit so that the seeds can really get that good contact with the soil so that they can grow. And hopefully there's enough looseness in the soil now that I've turned it over a couple times so that it will be able to, the carrots will be able to work their way down into the soil. But I won't know until I give it a try, but I think I'll be putting more compost on it tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Well, it's the next day. Last night I got a chance to add some compost to that row that I was going to cover up, and I'll be tearing off the plastic today and planting some carrots. So we're going to continue on with some gardening today and get some vegetables in the ground. Well, the sun's breaking through a little bit here, so we may not have to plant in the rain after all. I have with me some Johnny Orange Fancy pelleted seeds, and they say to plant these about 16 pelleted seeds per foot. So I'm just going to tear open the package here and plant them in my usual way. I'm going to take my marking stick and run it across the rows to create a furrow to hold these seeds. And I'll do that with all the different seeds. I have about 4 different types of carrots to plant in this row. We'll see how many we can fit. Now, for those of you who don't know, pelleted seeds are coated seeds. I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn the camera down here. Pelleted seeds are coated seeds that make it easier, especially if you got big fingers, to pick up individual seeds and plant them. Regular carrot seeds are infinitesimally small. So typically you have to grab a handful and pinch them like a very, very stingy pinch of salt and plant those carrots along the rows. So very difficult. It takes a while and a little bit of practice to get used to it. But usually you have to end up thinning the carrots. So you pull out carrots that is actually a waste of seed. So I have much more success, and I do a lot less thinning of the carrots when I use pelleted seeds. Of course, because they're coated, they're a little bit more expensive, but I find it worth my time. And you get great carrots from them, just as you do from regular seed. I don't know if the camera can pick up all those little white seeds in the furrows, but it makes planting a lot easier to have pelleted seeds. In the next section, I'm going to plant these Johnny seeds. They're Bolero carrots, and they're really good storage carrots. Now this next carrot seed I got from M.I. Gardner, a pretty package, and these are not pelleted carrots, so they're a lot harder for me to plant with my big ham fist. You can see here, I'll show you, not much wind. I don't want them to blow away, but you see how small those seeds are and how much harder they are to deal with. So one of the ways you do that is you hold them in your hand and you kind of feed them out with your thumb and forefinger. Kind of hold them and just kind of feed them out that way. I'll try to give you an example here. So if I just turn this way and just kind of feed them out slowly, but they still come out many at a time. So it's difficult to work with, but we do it every year. And these ones you have to thin a little bit. So after they start growing up, I'll thin them, and so that I can get good tasting and pureator carrots. So if you look at these, if you look at the photo here, you'll see they're a longer, thinner, and sweeter carrot, and a variety I enjoyed last year. So I'll see how it goes this year. The last carrot that I want to plant is also from M.I. Gardner, and it is called the Danvers carrot. Danvers is a town on the North Shore of Boston near where I'm located, and I plant this and it seems to work out every year. They're a stockier carrot, not as long and as sweet as the ones I just planted, but they are a very, very solid performer. So this is the last carrot I have to go in the ground. Putting those seeds in takes a little bit of time and effort, but it'll be worth it come the fall. We've had carrots up until last week or so, so they lasted us from last fall through May. That's fantastic. We keep them in a dorm fridge, small little refrigerator in the basement, and they keep pretty well. And we've given plenty to friends over the winter. So I'm going to take those carrots, and when they start to pop up just a little bit so I can start to see the green rows, I'm going to put the boards in between them to keep down the weeds. And so I'll do that in a few weeks. But let's water them in. Well, before I get to watering, I think I want to label these. And I found these old labels. These were made out of copper, and I don't know if you can see it, but this one says, what's it say? It says lettuce on it. And you can't really read them too well. So what I'm going to do is recycle these. Reach down here and grab my package and stick it through the bottom. And that looks like it's going to work. So I'll put this in front of my carrots, and people will know that beyond the sign That's where this particular brand of carrot is. Well, you caught me. I'm sitting in the shade here. Surprisingly, for a day that it was supposed to rain, there's almost no clouds in the sky. And it's 78 degrees, which is a surprise at this time in May. So I can see the neighbors over there in the pool enjoying themselves. And I thought I'd just take a minute to sit in the shade. But I got to think about my next move. I've already groomed the next bed and put some furrows in it, 2 of them to be concise, and I'm going to plant some Roma bush beans, Roma 2 bush beans. So those are the green beans we like to eat raw and in our salads, and we like to steam them as well. So those are great, and those are from my gardener, as are all of these. And for the first time, I'm going to plant light red kidney bush beans. You can see that. So those are kidney beans, and also some navy beans. You can see that package there. And we're also going to plant some black garbanzo beans. And these beans, other than the green ones, the navy beans, the garbanzo beans, and the kidney beans, are all going to be ones that I dry and preserve for over the winter. And my wife loves bean dishes and stews and casseroles and soups and all kinds of things. So I told her I'd give it a shot to try to keep some beans over the winter. So those are the new plants and the new vegetables that we're going to do this year. So they're not going to get in the ground by themselves, so rest time's over. I got to get to work. Here, I'll show you here. Those seeds are a lot bigger, and these Roma bush beans, they almost look like pelleted seeds, but they're a pleasure to handle. Well, we got an awful lot done. We got all the onions in, an entire bed of onions, an entire bed of 4 different varieties of carrots, and another bed, a 25-foot bed of 4 different kinds of beans. So I'm really happy with that, and I'm interested to see how those dried beans come up this year. So we got a lot more gardening to go. We've only got 3 out of 6 entire rows down so far, so there's a lot more planting to go this year, and I look forward to doing it with you. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you can. Appreciate you watching these videos. This is Scott at the XFed Homestead. We'll see you next time.